out there called 2048. It's pretty cool. You're working with powers of 2. So for example, 2, 4, 8, 16, so on and so forth. One goal of this game is to get 2048 to reach that tile by combining the other tiles. So for example, I'll show you here. You can move them down, left, up, or right. And then as you can see, when the similar tiles collide, they combine. This game actually has some pretty deep strategy to it, and some pretty shallow strategy as well. You know, similar to chess, there are some easy things that anyone can do, I think, to get a better score. So when you're playing this game, you want to get all of your big pieces on the bottom row in order. So you could also do this on the side row or the top, but let's just do the bottom because as humans we think of gravity. We can wrap our minds around it. It's natural to us. So I'm just going down and to the left mostly. And now you'll see we've reached a bit of a state, I guess I'll call it equilibrium. We've reached a position where all of the higher numbers are in the corner and the smaller numbers are on the edges, so I can combine them now by going to the right, down, to the left. So you see that it's much easier to make a lot of moves quickly when you group them this way, when they're organized. And at this part of the game, it's really not too difficult. You can just basically do anything and you're not really in any danger of losing. Now when I say you can do anything, there is one thing you can't do. Actually there's a few things, but the one thing you shouldn't be doing is going upwards. Now since it's early, I could probably get away with it, and I'm going to try it now just to show you. If this 2 had spawned over here, when I tried to get that 64 back in the corner, it would move the other pieces down, but not the 64. You want the bigger numbers to be out of the way so that you have more space to combine the smaller numbers. So moving along, I'm going to push it back down the way it should be. And so I'm just going to keep playing. I'm not really trying that hard. Like I could be doing some calculations here, trying to you know, find specific arrangements for the blocks. But you don't have to do that when the game is at an early stage and there aren't too many large numbers on the board to get in your way. So these large numbers work against you and they work for you. They work against you because they're in the way and it's hard to finally deal with them. But they work for you because they give you lots and lots and lots of points. I'm just careful to make sure that the larger numbers are always on the left. In the corner, I could have picked any corner, remember? Top right, bottom right, doesn't matter. So here's a little tactic I've found. Now you see how the 16s are not on top of each other? Well, it would be nice if I could drop that 16 down because I want to get my larger pieces downward. One thing that you can do, I like to call it dragging. You get 2 numbers that are the same on the side of a tile you want to move, and then you just drag it forward when you combine them. This way now, these 2 16s are vertically aligned. Bam. So moving along, moving along. So here I have a strategic decision to make, and once again, we're still early in the game, it's not dangerous, you can correct your mistakes, but if I bring the 16s to the left to make a 32, and then both 32s to the left again, I'll have a 64 block in the middle, and I don't really want that, so I'm going to go to the left and down, and now I have the easier to work with 32 block in the middle, while the 64 block is on the bottom. And now my strategy will be to try to grow the numbers on the left so I can get that 32 combined towards the left. Okay, so I set the board up in a sort of position where there's a tactic here. There are tactics in this game, just like in chess. What would the best strategy here be? Well, I'd want to start moving to the right and you'll see these 16s will line up. And whenever you have numbers in ascending order, for example 16 to 32 to 64 to 128, all you have to do is start the small one and then they'll kind of avalanche, they'll snowball and just get bigger and bigger, and you can sweep them all up. So that's just one little tactic here. I'll show it to you. And the reason I went and cleared out the ones here instead of the ones on the bottom is because we want our larger numbers on the bottom. So see how now I have all this room to work with? And I see the 16 floating there. I'm going to be kind of trying to rearrange it over the next few moves. So that was another tactic. Maybe I'll rewind the video and show you again in slow motion. You can, when you do have an isolated large tile up above a smaller tile, sometimes you can get around it and then kind of bring it down to eliminate it that way. That's one way to do it. So here's another little tactic. Sometimes you see that for example, the 8s are not lined up. This is a cool little thing you can do. You can just continuously go left and right and do nothing else until they finally align. Very common thing. I find myself doing that a lot. Alright, and here's a nice little tactic. Now I see those two 32s. I want to get them aligned, so what do? I don't go to the right because that'll create a 4 block here and a 4 block here. So I go down, I can move this 2 over and combine it. So you see here I have the 32, 64, 128, 256 all in a row, so I know that I'll be able to build a big snowball and end up with the 512 tile here if I can simply find a way to get a 32 here. Now there's a 16, so I can just look to grow my tiles around it, and there we have it.